Good morning, everyone. Today we will continue to discuss the third type of multimodal communication, which is intercultural communications, which refers to the communications between people from two different cultures. Intercultural communication is a symbolic, interpretive, transactional, and contextual process in which people from different cultures create shared meanings. So, intercultural communication means is the way people from different cultures talk and share ideas with each other. It's about understanding and respecting differences in language, traditions, and behaviors so we can connect and avoid misunderstandings. It helps people work together, build relationships, and learn from one another, even if they come from very different backgrounds. Now, let's move to the types of intercultural communications. Intercultural communication has two basic types, which is verbal communication and non-verbal communication. Verbal communications involve spoken and written words to convey message across cultures. Like for example, a Filipino overseas worker in the Middle East using Tagalog to communicate with fellow Filipinos, while switching to basic English or Arabic to interact with their local employer. So, this reflects how Filipinos adopt their verbal communication styles to suit multicultural environments. Next is nonverbal communications. It includes body language, gestures, facial expressions, eye contact, and physical space, like for example an eye contact. In some cultures, it is respectful, but rude in others. Another examples, crossing your legs. So crossing your legs during a formal meeting may be seen as disrespectful, while in other culture, it is normal. So it is important to know the other cultures so that we are aware what we should do and what we should not do. Next is interracial communication. It is a type of communication research that focuses on interactions between people of various ethnic backgrounds. So, interracial communications is the sharing of information and ideas between people of different racial backgrounds, focusing on understanding and respecting cultural differences to build meaningful relationships. For example, a white and Hispanic friend talk about traditions like celebrating Dia de los Muertos or Thanksgiving. So they share about their traditions so that they could learn and understand each other's backgrounds. Now let's move to the intracultural communications. Intracultural communication is another type of intercultural communications. So, intercultural communications occurs when individuals of the same social groups or groups with similar cultural characteristics communicate meaningfully. So, intercultural communications is when people from the same cultures share ideas and emotions, reinforcing their common values and traditions. Like, for example, people attending a culture festival, such as Chinese New Year celebrations. So engage in conversations about customs they all follow. And the last type of intercultural communication is interethnic communications. Interethnic communication is described as communications between representatives of different ethnic communities living in the same society for a long time as citizens of the same states. Interethnic communication is the exchange of ideas and information between people from different ethnic communities who live together in the same society, often as citizens of the same country. For example, in a workplace, employees from different ethnic backgrounds, like an Indian and a Filipino colleague, work together on a project and discuss their diverse perspectives. So, an Indian and a Filipino colleague collaborate in a project, sharing their unique cultural perspectives and ideas to enhance their work. And now let's move to the cultural characteristics in communications. It has 5 characteristics. First is high context and low context cultures. So in high context cultures is like Japan and Arab countries. So they communicate in ways that rely more on unspoken clues like body language and the situations around the message. So people often expect you to read between the lines and understand the meaning based on shared experiences or cultural knowledge rather than saying everything directly. So while low context cultures is opposite on high context because low context cultures like the USA and Germany, they communicate directly and clearly. They focused on using words to explain everything. So you don't need to guess the meaning from the body language or context. The message are straightforward and detailed. Second is collectivism and individualism. So collectivist culture is like China and India. Value the group over the individual. They focus on keeping harmony. So people often use polite or indirect language to avoid arguments. Communications includes words and gestures that emphasize togetherness and respect for others. And the next is individualist culture. It's like Australia and Canada focus on personal freedom and self-expression. People tend to communicate directly and openly using clear words and visuals to show their own thoughts and opinions, emphasizing individuality and personal identity. Third is power distance. So cultures with high power distance is like Malaysia and Mexico or Mexico. So communications often reflects social hierarchies. So people use formal language, respectful gestures, and visuals that highlight status and authority. And low power distance cultures like Denmark and Sweden, communication is more equal. People use informal language and visuals, treating everyone with the same level of respect and avoiding status based on their differences. Fourth is time orientation, monochronic cultures and polychronic cultures. Monochronic cultures is like Germany and Switzerland. Communication is organized and focused on time. People prefer clear schedules, follow a step-by-step approach, and value punctuality, often using structures, presentations, and timelines. While polychronic cultures is like Latin America and Africa, communication is more flexible and fluid. People may mix different communication styles like telling stories while using gestures and visuals and are less concerned with strict time management. And the last cultural characteristic is symbolism and aesthetic. So colors, symbols, and designs have different cultural meanings. For instance, red signifies luck in China, but may represent danger in Western cultures. And that would be all. And thank you for listening. God bless.